Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Boxiest, and today we are going to continue the What If series. What if events had gone differently? And in this What If, we're going to change the history of Cobra Kai. What if Terry Silver never existed during the events of the Karate Kid? So in this timeline, Terry Silver would never be born, and in this timeline, Carice would still meet Betsy, and he would still go to Vietnam, and those events would stay the same. And in Vietnam, Carice would still meet Ponytail, Carice and Ponytail would still become friends, Carice would still be trained by Captain Turner, he would still learn the strike first, strike hard, and no mercy philosophy, and Carice and his team would still be on a mission, and they would still be captured, Ponytail would still be killed, and they would still be forced to fight each other, and in this timeline, Carice wouldn't volunteer, so Captain Turner would fight another soldier, and Captain Turner would win, and he would survive in this timeline, so Carice and his team would still be saved, and those events would carry on. Carice would continue getting training from Captain Turner, and in this timeline, Carice would be a more ruthless soldier, and since Captain Turner survived, Carice would never be promoted to captain. By the time the war was over, Carice would go back to the US, and he would have the idea to open up his own karate dojo, to teach students the same lessons he was taught. But without Terry Silver, Carice wouldn't have the funding, so Carice would start working to earn money to open up his own karate dojo, and he would open it in Reseda, much like Johnny did during the events of Cobra Kai. Eventually, Carice would open Cobra Kai, but it wouldn't be as successful, and since Cobra Kai was in Reseda, it wouldn't be as expensive to join, and in this timeline, Johnny and his friends wouldn't join. Johnny would still have no friends, and he would continue to be an outcast, and Johnny would never get his confidence, so Johnny and Allie wouldn't date in this timeline. Eventually, Carice would start running out of money, so he would get the idea to invite his former captain to join him, so Carice and Captain Turner would run Cobra Kai, and in this timeline, Daniel would end up joining Cobra Kai because it wouldn't be that expensive, and with Captain Turner, this Cobra Kai would be even more ruthless than the one from the original timeline, and the events of the Karate Kid would continue. This version of Cobra Kai would learn proper Tang Soo Do, and they would follow the teachings of Master Kim Sang-young, and Daniel would be trained to be the perfect soldier. Cobra Kai would continue existing, but it would eventually shut down. Daniel and Mr. Miyagi wouldn't be close in this timeline, and the events of Karate Kid 2 would still happen. Mr. Miyagi would still go to Okinawa to see his father, and Sato would still want to fight him, but Mr. Miyagi would still refuse. The storm would still happen in this timeline, and Mr. Miyagi would still save Sato. So Sato would apologize to Mr. Miyagi, and Mr. Miyagi and Sato would become friends again. The events of Karate Kid 3 wouldn't happen in this timeline, and since Daniel never opened up Mr. Miyagi's little trees, Daniel will never meet Jessica, so Jessica will never introduce Daniel to Amanda, so Amanda and Daniel will never meet, so Sam and Anthony will never be born. The events of the next Karate Kid would still happen, Mr. Miyagi would still train Julie, and those events would stay the same. In this timeline, Carice would be more broken and more aggressive, but the former Cobra Kai students would be bigger bullies and more dangerous in this timeline. The events of Cobra Kai wouldn't happen in this timeline, and that is where I'm gonna end this What If. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think would have happened if Terry Silver never existed during the events of the Karate Kid? Let me know in the comments below. YouTube lets me know that the majority of you are not subscribed, so if you guys could subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And I'll see you guys next time.